Hello! Welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda and this is Birch and Lily, where I talk about all of the wonderful crafty things that I have been up to. Today I am going to be doing a tutorial for all of you on how to weave in your ends. I will be showing you how to weave them in on both the knit side of your knitting and on the purl side. Now this swatch I have here looks obviously absolutely ridiculous. I have been using this to do all of the different tutorials that you guys have been seeing over the past little while. As I say that, I don't know if this video is going to be one of the first ones going up or not, but anyways, I have been using this to film every single tutorial that I have been making. So, all you're going to need, obviously, to weave in your ends is your knitting, the ends, and a darning needle. Now I'm going to be using this bright green yarn today just so that I can show you a little bit easier what I'm doing and you'll be able to see it on the knitting, but normally obviously you would be weaving in these tail ends that are hanging off of your project. So let's jump right on in. I think we will start with the knit side. So the first thing you're going to do, of course, is weave the tail end into your darning needle, tapestry needle, whatever you want to call it. Now obviously, again, this would be attached to your knitting, but it isn't this time, just for demonstration purposes. So what you're going to do is we're basically going to want to duplicate these stitches that we have here on the knitting. So just going to anchor this in place first, and then I will come back to you just because I'm not connected to the knitting, obviously. Okay, so I have my fake end anchored in here. The first thing we're going to want to do is duplicate this stitch that is kind of in between here. So if your yarn isn't there already, you kind of want to just wiggle it around until you've got to a spot like that, which should be relatively easy. But most of the time, like if you look at this end here, it's right butted up against the stitch, so you should be just fine. So I want to make this look like this stitch. So the first thing this does is go up and underneath the stitch above it. So we're going to do that. We're going to take our darning needle and go underneath these two stitches right here. We're going to pull that tight, and you've created that leg right there. So the next thing it does, obviously, is go back down to finish the rest of that stitch. So we're going to go back down and under this leg below, and then we're going to go under the one right beside it as well. You're always going to be wanting to go under two legs, and that will hide your end the best. So I'm going to pull that through, and I've created my first duplicate stitch. So obviously this would be taupe, not green, but you could also duplicate stitch over top of something and make a design if you wanted, I guess. Anyways, moving on. So we're going to do the exact same thing. I'm sitting down here. I want to duplicate this stitch right here. So to do that, the yarn goes up here and under this stitch. So I'm going to grab my two stitches here, go under them with my darning needle, and pull it tight. And I've created the first leg of that little V. Then we're going down, so we're going to follow this leg of the stitch here, down, and under these two stitches right there. And pull it nice and tight. So the best way I can think of to remember this is first you're going to go up and then you're going to go down. So we're going to go up. So how can I say this? This stitch here is the one we're duplicating. So first we want to go above the stitch we're duplicating and under two stitches like that, following where that leg there would go. Pull it tight. Then we want to follow it back down and under these two stitches. and we've duplicated it. Again, up under these two, down under these two. So if you really inspect your knitting closely, if I set this down and I pull it apart, you can see where you want to be going. Do you see how each stitch kind of loops under and through every single one? So you're just following the pattern that those loops make. Yeah, hopefully that makes sense for weaving in on the front or the knit side of your knitting. If you need to see that again, or I went a little bit too fast, you can rewind the video, and you can also actually slow down the speed. So I would definitely recommend doing one of those two options. But let me take this green yarn out and we'll move into weaving in on the purl side. Okay, so I am ready to go. Usually, again, when I am weaving in on the purl side, I like to kind of duplicate the stitches. There are multiple ways that you can do this, but I will show you my favorite method. So the first thing that you want to do is get your yarn on the right side of one of these rainbows. So you want it to be going in the direction of a rainbow, not in the direction of a smiley face, I guess. So I am right beside one, but I'm just going to show you how I would move myself up to a new one. You literally just go, okay, I've gone under that rainbow, then I've gone under the smiley face. And now I'm right beside a rainbow and ready to go. So what you're doing kind of is making a figure 8. So I want to go up and over to the next smiley face beside the rainbow. So I'm going to go through that stitch and then through the next one right diagonal to it so that I come out beside a smiley face. So when you're going down, you want to come out beside a smiley face. When you're going up, you want to come out beside a rainbow. So I'm going to pull that, and you can see that duplicated that first rainbow there. So now I'm going up. I want to follow my smiley face up to here, go up and under that stitch, over diagonal to that one. So I'm coming out right beside that stitch I had just duplicated. And pull it tight. So now I have two. I have one rainbow and one smiley face. Now, one thing you do want to keep in mind with any duplicate stitching is that you do not pull it too tight, because you will notice that it will cinch all of your knitting together on the right side. But if I flip this, you can't see that green yarn at all on the right side, so it's perfectly hidden. Okay, let's do that again. So now I am beside a rainbow. So I want to follow that rainbow down. So I'm going to go down into the stitch beside the rainbow, down into the one right beside the smiley face we just finished, and snug it out. Now we're beside a smiley face. So we're going to follow it up to the stitch beside it and go up. Then we're going to go up into the stitch right beside the rainbow we just finished and snug it up. Okay, we're beside a rainbow. So we're going to follow it over to the stitch right beside it and go down. Then we're going to go down into the stitch right beside the smiley face we just finished. And we're going to snug it up. Do that one more time. We're beside a smiley face now, so we're going to follow it to the stitch beside, go up into it, up into the stitch right beside the rainbow we just finished, and snug it up. So, as you can see, I've totally duplicated all of those stitches, and once again, not noticeable at all on the right side of the knitting. So, then you would just obviously cut both of these tail ends and your end is all woven. Usually I like to run either on the right side or the wrong side, aka the knit side or the purl side of the knitting. I like to do this about at least 6 to 8 times, just so I know that it's nice and snug and it's not going to move on me. But yeah, hopefully that helped you out. Like I said earlier, if you need to watch this again, you can totally rewind the video, watch it again, or if I went a little bit too fast for you, there is an option to slow down the video as well. You just have to click on the video screen and then the option comes up in the bottom right corner of the screen. I hope I helped you out some. I hope you learned something today. And if you did, I would really appreciate if you subscribed and hit the like button. And I will see you all again in the next one. Bye!